In the 13th century, the Buddhist monk Nichiren blasted Japan's spiritual decadence and warned of imminent foreign invasion. The imperial government banished Nichiren to Sado Island, where his disciples still chant the Lotus Sutra. As a young man, Kita became a follower of Nichiren, in whose words Kita found a pure spirit of nationalism.
I will be the pillar of Japan. I will be the eyes of Japan. I will be the vessel of Japan.
Some would say he was a fanatic. He just plowed straight ahead like a medieval Buddhist. And since he was on cocaine, to some degree or another, most of the time, it probably colored the last 30 years of his life more than we know.
Kita took cocaine daily to ease the pain of a childhood eye injury. By the 1920s, he was attending seances, seeing ghosts, and entertaining visions of revolution. In 1920, he published his most famous book, A Plan for the Reconstruction of Japan. Much of it read like a leftist tract. It gave land to the farmers, profits to the workers, and broke the power of the zaibatsu. But its inspiration came from a 19th century Japanese slogan, rich nation, strong military. Kita called for a military coup d'etat to re-establish the rule of the emperor. Then the army would drive out the European powers in the name of another slogan, Asia for the Asians.
After destroying England and freeing China, the rising sun flag of Japan will light the darkness of the entire world. Peace without war is not the way to heaven.
In the early 20s, Kita's book only reached a few people. But his radical ideas burned like a slow fuse in a country about to explode. On September 1st, 1923, Japan's main island of Honshu was struck by a devastating earthquake. In Tokyo, the quake started fires that destroyed 700,000 homes. 100,000 people died. The terrible damage shook urban society. In the chaos that followed, wild rumors spread that Koreans and Chinese had set the fires, and that socialists and communists were using the disorder to start riots. Communism preached that workers of the world must unite. But Kita thought that the problems of Japan's poor and homeless could only be solved by a Japanese solution. Nationalism, not international communism. In the late 1920s, Japan's government began to turn to the right, using a peace preservation law to crack down on the dangerous thought of socialists and communists, and to protect private property. In 1929, stock markets crashed all over the world. Huge fortunes were wiped out in a single day. A worldwide depression began. To the Japanese right, the Great Depression was proof that international capitalism was just as dangerous as international communism. To leave Japan's economy to the greed of individuals was a mistake. Kita Iki believed that the Japanese people were kept poor by wealthy businessmen and politicians who stood between the people and the emperor. To destroy Japan's elites was the mission of military men, whom Kita saw as classless servants of the nation.
The Japanese soldier, the samurai in the late feudal period, was a pure warrior who worked on behalf of the whole country. Translated to the modern scene, that meant that the properly trained warrior would continue to work for the whole country, not for himself.
Inspired by Kita Iki, Japanese nationalists sought to mobilize the country by invoking ancient cultural myths of the emperor and the sword.